since there's nobody here anyway, and I don't have a gavel. What's the point? Okay. All right, I am calling this meeting of November 17th, 2025 to order, even though I don't have a gavel, at 5:03 p.m. At this time, we will be moving to closed session, and we'll return as soon as we are through. At 5:03. Oh, yeah, you're right. Without my gavel, I'm lost. We are going to, which one is it? We're going to do 2A pursuant to sections 551.129 and 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Discussion regarding pending litigation against the district, civil action number 424CV-01224-BJ, pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas. That's the only one. We don't have personnel tonight. So, all right, we are adjourned now, 5:03. All right, it's 6 p.m. and since somehow my gavel mysteriously disappeared, I don't know if you guys can see that. That's my new gavel tonight. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, but hey, you know, it's all you got, so you got to work with it. So, all right, it is, as I said, it's 6 p.m. on November the 17th, 2025. This meeting is now back in open session. At this time, we're moving on to item number 4, and our invocation is if you could stand as you're able. And Mr. Bayless, I believe, is going to be delivering our invocation.
Will you pray with me? Dear Lord, we're so thankful for you. We come to you tonight, we're thankful for this district. We're thankful for this community, God. Lord, we ask that you continue to be with our staff and our students in this district. Ask that you be with us in our community, God. Give us the wisdom and discernment in every decision that we make. Allow us, for whatever we do, God, to make sure that we give you the glory and honor in everything we do. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, we've got some special guests here tonight. With us from Ennis STEM Elementary, we've got Colette Liu, hopefully I pronounced that right, in 2nd grade, and Stella, her sister Lou. Her parents are Courtney and Kenneth Liu. And we've also got Cambria Garcia, who's a 1st grader at STEM, and her parents are Chelsea and Michael Garcia. So if y'all could come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then stay up there, because we'll get a little picture with you. Okay, y'all, we'll start when you start. You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think we're going to go around, guys, and get a quick picture, and then we'll stay up there for Maggie.
Okay, up next, I have the pleasure of introducing a few student recognitions. My first recognition is for Maggie Ballou, a senior at Decatur High School. So Maggie, can you join us up front? I've got a really special certificate for Maggie. She earned earlier this year the 2026 National Merit Scholarship Program condemnation. That is for some of the brightest students in really the entire nation. I think it's the top 3%, and it's based off of your PSAT scores. And so Maggie just did a wonderful job. We're immensely proud of her, and we're glad she could join us tonight. So Maggie, if you can. And Miss Allen, do you want to join us up front for a photo? I think it was choose your favorite holiday, and hers was Christmas, so that's, oh, she did change, okay, good.
It said Merry, Merry, Merry. Where would you like us to stand? Right there.
Like I said, I always have the fun job and really just an honor of recognizing students. And we have so many talented students across the district, whether it's academics or athletics. And so moving on, that's a great segue to athletics. Our cross-country kiddos, if you have not, and I call them kiddos, but they're really young adults. If you've not been paying attention, they've had a wonderful season this year. And so we want to congratulate all of them. I'm going to start just by reading their names and have them come up front with the boys JV team at Decatur High School. We'll start with John Martinez. Trey Johnson. Ryder Siebenek. Aaron Gaboa, Aiden Smith, Mason Payne, Nathan Galindo, Jace Ashmore, Eduardo Friare, Barrett Teichelman, and last but not least, Jose Espinoza. And y'all stay right here. We're going to get everyone to join us. And up next, we're going to, I don't think y'all can hear, but they're doing a little mini celebration up here. So we're going to go on to the girls JV next. I have Miriam Rodriguez, Brasiah Wilson, Liberty Dollins, Jasmine Garcia, Naomi Martinez, Kinsley Knight, got a live one, Jesslyn Taylor, Allie Wilson, Evelyn Fernandez, Kaylee Prock, Nora Hagan, okay, sorry, let me back up. Thank you. And then Nora, thank you. Kayla Martinez, Jocelyn Lopez, Blazy McCandless, Janie Holmes, and Jaylene Arendano. And if you're wondering, the kids who aren't here, they are studying hard, so. And last, sort of, if I can get the whole stack out. Okay, last but not least, we have our varsity team. And so I'm going to start with Giselle Martinez. Oops, sorry, felt like there was two that one. Rainey Goki. Rayson Siebenek. Jaden Addington, Maddox Kaufman, Reagan Nix, Giselle Martinez, Tessa Rogers, oh, sorry, I'm autopilot. Kinley Willer, Skylar Sicking, Tate, and just a couple more. Tate Clackler, I actually have two for him. Reagan Nix, sorry, I think I already got, yeah, I knew I was out of order. And then Maddox Coffin, I got another for you as well. Let's give them another round of applause. And I just want to brag on these students. Several of these students went all the way up through UIL state championships through the district level, where they competed very well, so we're immensely proud. And then also three of them, Reagan Nix, Maddox Kaufman, and also Tate Clackler, made it to, oh no! Y'all, I know them too, I'm sorry y'all. We're going to get them their certificates, but we're immensely proud of them. They did well at state, qualifying for state. They did well at the district championships, and we're just proud of y'all representing Decatur on and off the field. So thanks, guys. Can we get the coaches up here for a photo? Hey y'all, we've got some technical difficulties, but I do want to take a moment. I did not have an opportunity to call Maggie Ballou's family up here, and so I would love if they could just join us up here for a photo. We'd be so grateful, and I know these are special moments and you want to capture those, so. Of course. Oh, sorry. Look at you. Thank you, sir. Okay. All right, that's all.
Okay, we are on item number 7, which is public forum, and we did not have anybody sign up tonight, so we'll move on to item number 8, our superintendent report. Ms. Williams?
We have a lot of exciting things happening in the district. I have restructured the way I do the report, so I've chunked it kind of into our 4 main pillars, so I'll share that way. Under high-performing students, in case you haven't heard, our Lady Eagles volleyball team made the state championship. Super exciting. They'll play on Friday. We also have our football team that's still playing the second round of playoffs. They'll play on Thursday night. I also want to give a special shout out to Coach Huff. He intentionally scheduled the football game so that our volleyball fans we weren't split, and that's a really big deal for our community. So I want to thank him for acknowledging that and being proactive. We also, our DEIC met. They're already talking about next year's calendar. I want to give Ms. Boatwright a shout out when it comes to high-performing students with CTE alignment. She's worked very hard working with the community partners to kind of determine what CTE pathways we need, and so I'm super excited to see where she takes us over the next few months with that. Moving to highly engaged staff, we've hosted 3 different new sub onboarding training sessions, so we now have 125 substitutes who are ready and trained to serve in our classrooms, which is a much larger number than we've had before. Had our professional learning day Friday, November 7th, and then we have our TIA Teacher Input Committee meeting this week. So we'll continue to define what TIA looks like in DISD with their input. Strong community partnerships. We had Leadership Decatur tour all of our campuses last week. I also presented at the Lions Club, State of the District, and then touched on bond planning. And then we obviously had Veterans Day programs that were awesome throughout the district. And so that was great to see that community involvement. And then strategic resource management. Our enrollment is up around 20 students from the start of the school year, so that's definitely a benefit to our budget and our growth. Attendance has been above 95% as well, which is also a huge win for both learning and from a financial lens. And then we're currently doing an internal program audit across all departments, so we're looking at the money we're spending for different agreements and services to make sure that we're not double paying for anything, and that see if we can streamline some of those to also cut costs. And then Bond Planning Committee had their first meeting last week. It was a great turnout, lots of meaningful conversation, and the next meeting is scheduled for December 2nd. So, that's all I
Okay.
have.
Any questions for Ms. Williams? Okay.
Mr. Schultz, just a quick shout out. Speaking of shout outs, I want to give Taylor a shout out and Monique as well for the great things that they've been putting out on social media, educating our community on all the bond things and future planning, and just communication seems like it's at an all-time high, and I truly appreciate that.
Yep, I agree. It's a lot of work, but we appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Joyner. Okay, moving on to item number 9, it's public hearing, the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. Mr. Mazinski, if you would join us up here.
Thank you. The first report is a report that's required of every school district in Texas. The state of Texas analyzes school districts' finances and provides a financial report that has to be distributed and talked about once a year. The score is from 0 to 100. Decatur ISD received 100 on this. It's kind of a funny report because the 24-25 report is based on 23-24 data, and it's presented in the fall of 25, so it can kind of get confusing. I've been doing this over 20 years, it seems like, and I still have to go back and say, what year are we doing? And you can see in there, these are all available to the public. There's a lot of data on the internet. They go look how the school did. You can see that most school districts, 90% of the school districts in Texas, have a superior rating both years. I will tell you, when it comes to substandard achievement, I think the schools bounce in and out of there. Various school districts have various trouble. And those are some of the schools I think that the agency tries to look at to help them, and that's really one of the good things about this report. Here's the history of Decatur ISD. We've had a pretty good history of having good results on this report. I'll now go through the report pretty quickly. Did you get your audit in on time is number one. And did you have a good unmodified opinion? A modified opinion might said we audited these statements, but even we can't understand. That'd be a modified opinion. Unmodified is it's a good opinion. Were you in compliance with? Did you pay all your debts during the year? Non-payment of debts is a pretty good sign the district's in trouble. Some of these indicators as well, like if you don't pay your debts, you can fail the whole thing. I mean, even though it's 100 points, when these pass things, there are certain things in there. If you mess up, the highest you can get could be like 89, or each one's weighted differently. Did the school district make timely payments to the IRS? We withhold taxes and pension payments and stuff, and they all have to be turned in. Yes. Number 5, was your net position positive? That's an audit schedule. It basically means that you have more, your assets and, more than what you owe. Number 6, was the average change in fund balance over 3 years less than a 25% decrease? That's an interesting one because it's hard to get less than 25%. If your fund balance, is it greater than 75 days? You take your fund balance divided by 365, and yes. And some of these I can do for next year, but this is not about next year, so I didn't want to spend time showing what the current financial statements look like. But I may, in the board report, say, hey, this is where you're at. Just need to be aware that this is what it looks like. Well, did you have the number of cash on hand? Was it sufficient to cover operating expenses? Yes. Current assets and liabilities, did you have enough to pay your short-term debt? Yes. Did the school district's general fund equal or exceed expenditures? And I think on that one, if you had enough cash on hand, because that wasn't true for us, but if you had greater than 60 days, you still got 10 points. They didn't use indicator 10. It gets floated around. This year it wasn't used. Number 11, were long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient for long-term solvency? Or if you had more than 1,000 students, you got it anyway, so that didn't matter because we have more than 1,000 students. But you have a school with 300 students, and some of those say that's a different horse different kind of horse. The smaller students that you go, their finances are much more different. was there a correlation between future requirements and the property value? In other words, they look at what your debt is compared to your property value. Ours is fine compared to, and when you issue bonds, really, you know, people look at your M&O fund and your debt service fund, and they focus a lot on the bond ratings. We'll talk to you a lot about your general funds, but it's that debt service, it's your property value that really bondholders are compared about. Do you have a good, do you have a good solid indicator does? Was your administrative cost ratio okay? That's a set of, they look at each function depending on the size of your school. For example, a district like Dallas they have to have a much smaller administrative cost ratio because you can add a person to central office in Dallas that you can't even tell it in in the finances. So, but anyways, the answer to that is yes, we are within the administrative cost ratio. Student decline was 14. Did the district not have a 15% decline in students? No, we had an increase. Remember, we talked since the beginning of the year. Students Students are our money. And you lose students, you lose money. Number 15 was the school district's ADA within the allotted range. Districts have to tell TEA what they think their number of students are going to be, and then TEA pays you on those. And if the district says, "Hey, I think we'll put 10 times out there, they'll pay us on. We'll put the money in the bank and earn interest and stuff." They catch on to that pretty fast, by the way, about halfway through the year. But that's what that indicator says, that we did an honest projection. Is our PEMS after the audit's over? They'll take all the data from the computer and they'll roll it into the state. And then the state will then take that data from our computer and compare it to the audit, the paper audit, and is it within 3%? And it should be, because they don't really use the audits anymore to analyze school districts. They have all those computer line items, and so they'll use those. So they want those to be correct. Was the independent audit, was it free of material noncompliance? That's a big indicator, but that you can get hit sometimes on a noncompliance by not purchasing correctly or something. But yes, we were okay. Number 19, did we post our stuff properly? You have to make all sorts of postings to the internet. Superintendent's contract, that kind of stuff, and yes, we did. Did the school district, school board members talk about federal funding and state change laws with 120 days? And you did. I don't know when, but I know we did this year, because we went in that room up there, and to do this over again, I probably would have had Laura write school district talked about, but I'll just show the auditor what we did. We definitely talked about the budget and stuff within 120 days. Did the school district have an adjusted repayment schedule? If you're overpaid by TEA and you can't afford to pay it back, they'll give you an adjusted schedule. And I know one district like that. But anyways, and that's a big indicator. I mean, if you can't afford to pay your overpayment, and you don't actually pay your overpayment back, you just get decreased payments for the current year. So the Decatur ISD got a superior achievement of 100. You have to post superintendent contracts. Those are on the internet. And then you have to post expenditures by board members. I would say this is a very conservative board. Y'all don't go to like national school board meetings and stuff. And some of you hope you don't get your feelings hurt. You're left out of this, because remember, this goes from 23, 24. So if you came on in 25, then you'll get, your turn is next year to be on this schedule. But as board members, all we really had for the people in this room, really, you just had some training that you were required to go to. You didn't have a choice. And then 1 year they gave out some turkeys or something like that, so we put those on there. And then there were 3 $50 thank you for being on the board gift certificates that we get on. But this is a very conservative, when it comes to board spending this or money, it's very, very, very conservative. And that's a good thing to say. You guys are really conservative. Then there are three other questions. Did the superintendent, sometimes superintendents will go around and they'll charge another district, give them a seminar or something, and they'll charge them money. And this isn't as common anymore, but obviously it was common one time. They wouldn't have this indicator. And so they said, no, both. I want to thank Dr. Jones. I want to thank Dr. Rue. Both of them were kind enough to send back their responses to us. You always wonder, you send it out and they're not under legal obligation to send it back, but they were both very kind to return them. And so no, neither of them did. For the 12 months, did anybody receive a gift greater than $250? No, I've never had anyone do that. And so the answer of the respondents to that was no. And the last one, would you have any business transactions? For the respondents, that there were no business transactions. Every once in a while, somebody might own a factory where they have cups or something, and we might buy Decatur ISD cups. But in this case, there was none. There was some, I'm not even sure if this schedule was required, but it was in his general ledger. But a lot of those expenditures are really for the benefit of the district, and that was just district membership expenditures. So that completes the first report. And so I will turn it over to President Schultz, which has the next item on the agenda, which you're required to have public comment. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mazinski. Yes, at this time, we are required to, any individuals who want to make a comment or address the board in any way regarding this report, they have the opportunity to do that right now. If there is none going to approach the board to speak, then we will move on to item number 10, the consent agenda. On this, we just have our regular minutes. We do have a budget amendment, and we have the purchase over $25,000 of the Chromebooks for, I think it's 315 Chromebooks for.
Just real quick on that, that is coming out of our instructional materials allotment, which is a good thing. And I think Jenny and Todd and Tara are all in the room. So the three of them have worked together to maximize that fund, which is outside of our normal technology budget. It's something you can buy curriculum or instructional materials with, technology, I think keyboards. And so we're kind of shifting some of our technology down to the lower grades and getting all new for the fifth graders across all elementaries. And part of that was to help meet, the principals are clapping over there, I see them silently. Part of that was at the request too, and the feedback that we got last year from the middle school teachers and the preparedness that our fifth graders do not have currently when they go up to sixth grade. Our sixth grade teachers are spending a lot of instructional time teaching them the basics, how to open, how to type, how to keyboard, and so we're really trying to make that push in the lower levels and get them the technology they need so that when they get there, they're prepared.
Okay.
Is there any type of grant money? So we didn't budget this, correct?
So this is instructional materials, so it's completely separate from the budget. This is money every 2 years that TEA gives us to spend on curriculum and computers. Is that what you're?
Yes, that it's money coming from the state that we're being reimbursed. Is that correct? We get reimbursed for it, or is it just sitting there?
It's sitting there. We have an allotment every 2 years.
Okay.
And so we've purchased our curriculum that we need, and this was what we could put towards technology.
Right, that's what I wanted. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions for Ms. Williams? If not, I will entertain a motion from someone to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I approve that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Have a motion from Chief Campbell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second from Mr. Bayless. All those in favor say aye. 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 All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. All right, we are now moving on to item number 11, discussion items regarding a budget update. All right, that would be this one. All
I'm going to go pretty quickly. A lot of this has to do, it's this general concept. There anything in here specific that that we need to worry about? But it's a good time to kind of start looking to what we're planning for next year. How long can you plan? And whether you're doing a bond issue or whether you're the Texas Education Agency, it doesn't matter, or your state legislature. In my experience has been that school boards and state legislatures and attorneys who, worry about school, they try to look about 10 years. That's about the best you can do. And so as you plan for the future, so much, look at where we were 10 years ago, how different things are. So that's kind of how the horizon, obviously we're just planning 1 year at a time for the budget, but that's the general kind of the feeling across the state. Even school finance 10 years ago is very different than it was today. I've got the factors that increase and decrease fund balance, and I'm going to pull a few of those out. One thing that sometimes is overlooked where districts can gain money, at least not lose money, is as our higher step teachers retire and we hire lower step teachers, you can have some savings there. The problem is that's so hard to do because it happens all during the year. I am going to talk a little bit with you about interest rates, and one of the factors that decreases fund balance is the diversion of state resources. And I'm going to just spend this is kind of like, a little side bar here, just to show you, because we all know that they took $1 billion and did something with it. So you say, does it even make a difference in the district with billions of dollars? So what I did, I took that $1 billion that schools didn't get, and there are about 5 million kids in the state of Texas. That comes out to be about $198 a kid, and I multiply it by our ADA, or about our average number of kids that we got ADA for, and then I multiplied that allocation, came up with $701,000. The cost of a bus is $145,000. My point is that $1 billion could have bought us almost 5 buses. So when people say, well, it's just $1 billion, it's hard to, billions on state revenue is so big, it's hard to get in your head, how does that affect our district? But when you said that's 5 buses every 2 years, all of a sudden you start to think about how that affects us. That's kind of a side thing. It doesn't help us with build this, all we can do is cry over spilt milk, but at least we understand it. When we talk about reductions, as we go into the new budget, we're going to very carefully look at staff. Of course, this is a TASB statement. The easiest way to reduce staff is don't hire people you don't need in the first place. As we cut our 6,200 to 66, and those are basically your non-staff, you can irritate people if you cut travel and stuff, but the travel budget doesn't come back and file a grievance against you or argue with you. Those are things that are the easy things to do. It doesn't cause distress. The point is, cutting staff is very hard to do in a budget. I want to tell the board as we move forward that a school district is not like a corporation. We have a lot of restrictions. We may want to reduce some things, but it's not that easy. In some cases, you actually have to apply. The board president actually has to send a letter or memo or whatever to TEA and say, hey, this is the direction in case of a financial exigency, which we're not even near that. What I'm saying is your hands are somewhat tied compared to a corporation. In elementary schools, you may say, well, this teacher left, so we can just not replace this one, but there is a federal comparability requirement that the schools have to be reasonably balanced. So cutting one of those positions, while it may be financially the right thing to do, if it messes up the comparability study, you got to bring them right back anyways, or you're going to lose $350,000 of title. So it's a balancing act. That's what it comes back to. Let's just don't hire if you don't have to. Generally, as we move forward in new budget, we're not going to cut any special education costs. There is a tremendous amount of regulation involving the finances and special education. The only reason that you would cut a special education program if you had a high dollar student that was expensive person, if that student were to graduate or leave, move out of your district and stuff, and you didn't have to have that service provider, that teacher, no longer had a student to provide the service for. That would be the only special education that we would even begin to look at special education cross stuff. So what this means is, as the spring comes and we prepare our budget and we look, it's very important that we look at every, pay attention to attrition as people leave. Is that a position we want to refill? Can it refill? Because that's your only way that we're going to kind of get $1.5 million, back kind of into line. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I am going to show you some estimates that I did, because we sat here a few years ago we talked about if you were using $3 million, you were losing $3 million a year, that we'd be in trouble right about now. And I read it in the Weiss County Messenger, if I remember right. I think there was probably some overestimates back then, and so I wanted to tell you that the world, there is some time. And also, when we come to next year, you're going to have issues because you're going to have medical to deal with, and you will probably give out some salary increases. So you've got a mixed blend of trying to cut and give salary increases. There's a million scenarios I could do these. What I'm going to say is, I'd rather not get into a debate. Well, what if that happens? What if that happens? I mean, this is just one small picture. I'm going to show you this in a graph, so don't worry about the green thing, but our current budget was about $101.5 million deficit. And more than likely, if we did that again, and we're not going to, but if you did, we would probably have to increase salaries some. And so that's kind of the worst case, like you're not paying attention scenario. What would happen if we adopted the current budget and then increased salaries again next year? What you find that gives you, gives about 3.5 years, and that's what I wanted to share with you. If a district can't reverse, can't change things in 3.5 years, that's plenty of time to, we're not going bankrupt at the end of next year. We're going to make payroll this time. But I will tell you, and who would do that? Who would adopt a budget of $1.5 million and then keep giving $500,000 increases? You wouldn't do that. But that is pretty much kind of a little bit of historical worst case scenario. The problem with the reality is you could run into cash flow issues. Even though your fund balance would last 3.5 years, you might the year before start running into some months before taxes came or something. So that is one of the problems. But the world is not, based on current data, falling apart. Now, I would like to just show you a simple example. If we had $1.5 million a deficit and we increased salaries $500,000, that would be $2 million the deficit budget for next year. And a student brings about $10,600. We would have to have 189 kids. And so my point of this is, we do need to, Taylor, I, and Lyle, Dr. Weber, we do need to address the budget. It's not going to just disappear. It is something that we will work on. Our finances are in excellent position, and however, 189 kids did not knock on our door this year. If they did, life, things would be different. I can do that same calculation with forgetting about giving these salary increases. If we just had the deficit, if we don't address, the deficit. You can see that you divide it by 10.6 and it comes out to 142 students. My point is, doing nothing and just keep rolling the ball is not an option. Okay, and that's really not just for us as we get ready for next year. That's a message to everybody in the next year, is that we're going to tighten some things down. What is my what is kind of my goal? I would kind of like to see us, and I know this doesn't, and I've got to do some more work on this, but I would like to see us start with cutting 500,000 out of the budget, 200, and I would like to see some external support if we get, and then be able to cut some of our, we're spending a lot of maintenance money and stuff on capital improvement projects. I would like to be able to reduce that by a couple of 100,000. And then salaries would probably increase 400,000, and that's a net difference of about 300,000 for next year. That's kind of my goal to get started. There are some issues that are very unique to this year. Usually we have a TA will put its summary of finance out, but right now we look at our state funding template. They don't know our tax rate. Another thing, there are various. When all the school finance got started, remember the way school finance work, there's this cost to this program thing generally. And then they say, well, what's your property value? Okay, so you can afford that much, so you pay that and we'll pay this. They do the difference. What's interesting, though, is a few years ago, they had an election. Everybody said, let's raise the property exemption on your house from 25 to 100. A couple weeks ago, we had a vote where we raised it from 100 to 140. Well, the problem is when it does that, since those house values, you were taxing on 100, now your tax rate will be applied to 140, and that then in order to get that loss of funding, where the state will send it to us, they have to know those values. Those values, they're called, the differences are called T values, T1, T2, depending on, what vote happened or something. I think they're T7, I think there's 17 T values right now. That's how many changes that are kind of jump in and out of the formulas. And until those are all kind of work through the formulas, we're guessing at some of those because we don't exactly know them all ourselves either. That was one of the things within the last 2 months in your current year budget. You had something to do with senior citizens. One of those T values gave us about an extra 450,000 or so that really helped this year's fund balance. So also, we also know there are several carryover issues that we are dealing with from last year that'll affect the budget, and this is a time and place, we don't need to write them all down. But I think it's going to take this whole year to clean up a lot of. For example, we know there were issues with that. The egg, I don't use egg, current technology. We know we gained a lot of funding. We talked about that last time, but now we've got to put that into this budget. And we want to put it in, Ms. Williams, she wants to make good use of it. I mean, I could do an amendment today and we'd buy, 5 Suburbans or something if we wanted to spend it, but she wants to make sure that it's spent properly, and so we'll bring that into the budget. Those things are going to affect this year, and hopefully you almost have to say turn the crank one more time and to get the new finance formulas where they show. But overall, I want you to know we have a pretty good sound financial footing. The goal is for us to clean it up, take some of the issues that we're dealing with the past, and get those kind of down the river, and so that we can move forward. Okay, so that was the graph I wanted to show you that we're good. We're good. We know what the issues are, and we're working on in the future. What I will try to do is do those same graphs with what is the effect of additional kids. That's what I don't have for you. If I add kids to it, how does it take that line and make it disappear and go from a deficit to be perfectly straight in so that the 1.5 disappears? And that's how it's going to disappear. It's going to disappear with kids. So we need to know. We'll do that calculation next. I don't have that for you today. I've started it, but I'm not comfortable. I don't want to present something that I don't feel comfortable with. So, okay. So, Mr. Schultz, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mazinski. Appreciate your insight and your color commentary. Okay, so we are moving on to item number 12, 12A, action items. Consider and take possible action on civil action number 424-CV-01224-BJ pending in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas, including potential resolution. Just for the public to know, this is a closed session item that the board has discussed, and at this point, we are looking to any other further discussion is fine, but we'll also need to make a motion to take care of this.
I authorize legal counsel to proceed as discussed in closed session and further authorize the superintendent to execute any documents necessary to effectuate the resolution of this matter.
I have a motion, Ms. Schneider. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Chief Campbell. Is there any other further discussion on this? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. 12B, consider and take possible action regarding the approval of the Wise County Appraisal District Board of Directors. Each of you should have a list of the nominees in front of you. We have, I'm sorry, refresh my memory, what's the total number of votes? We have 930. We have a total of 930 votes. And we can, all votes can go to one. It can be distributed any number. So hopefully you've had a chance to look at the list of candidates. And at this point, I think we need some discussion about who we think we should give our votes to, and whether that's one or multiple people. And I will say, for the benefit of the public who doesn't have that, the list of a lot of these people, admittedly, we don't know, and this happens every year. This is something we have to do every year. And so we have to make our best guess and best recommendations based on people that we do know or any other factual information that someone has. I personally know candidate number 5, Chance Overton. I'll be honest, I don't really know many of the other ones.
No, number 2, David Carell.
Okay. Does anybody have any other comments about any of the other candidates? If not, we can make, I can make a motion. I'll make a motion that we split our votes between candidate number 2, David Carell, and candidate number 5, Chance Overton. But I'm happy to entertain any other. Okay? Well, then I will make that motion then, that we split the, whatever, I'm not great on math, but I'm going to go 465. Does that sound right? 465 for David Carell and 465 for Chance Overton. Do I have a second? I think he beat you to it. We'll go with a second from Dr. Joyner. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. All right, thank you. 12C, consider to take possible action regarding targeted improvement plan for Carson and Rand Elementary. I think Dr. Weber is going to walk us through that.
Good evening, President Schultz and school board members. I just wanted to briefly put together a visual for you all regarding the school improvement plans that we are submitting to TEA and Region 11. And so actually, I have my notes because I submitted a draft to the Service Center and TEA for feedback so that they could give me some guidance on anything that needed to be clarified. And so these 3 slides are based on what I submitted to them. The official won't go to TEA until the end of this week, and after I make some of the adjustments that they recommended. But this is for Carson Elementary and Rand Elementary, and Rand is included in this school improvement process because of some grant funding that they previously received. But it is aligned with a lot of the work that they're currently doing. So the 4 pillars that we're primarily focusing on are our high-focus student groups. Students who are economically disadvantaged, emergent bilingual, receive special education services, or are considered highly mobile. Those groups of students are condensed into like one indicator with TEA. And then we look at academic achievement, students who are meeting the grade level standard or above in RLA and in math. Their growth over the course of a year, so it's not just passing the STAR test, but also our students making growth year to year. And then student success, and usually student success, especially at the high school level, also includes graduation. Well, we're not graduating kids from Carson and Rand just yet, but that is an indicator that they look at. For Carson Elementary, as I'm sure you are aware, we have implemented the Bluebonnet math curriculum, and our product advisor with the service center, some days I think she lives here because we see her all the time. She's walking campuses, walking classrooms with us, so that is a big part of our instructional implementation at Carson, focusing on professional learning communities and the collegial conversations and collaboration that our staff at Carson will take on as they implement this new curriculum. Utilizing our map data specifically for the student groups that we discussed. Instructional walkthroughs where Mr. Weston and I walk classrooms. He and Ms. O'Brien walk classrooms and give teachers feedback on how to improve instruction for the benefit of our students. Again, number 5, focusing on those special populations. And then number 6, that continuous improvement cycle. How do we improve and refine? The solution is here. We are the solution, and so we are going to work diligently to improve outcomes for all of our kids, especially those at Carson and at Rand. At Rand Elementary is a little bit more condensed. They are also part of the Bluebonnet implementation and utilizing map data and professional learning communities, but they are keenly honed in on the MTSS process, multi-tiered systems of support. So when teachers are teaching, 22 kids at a time, there will be a few who may not grasp the concept initially, and there may be those who struggle over time. What are we doing to meet the needs of those students throughout the course of the year to make sure that they don't fall further behind as they progress through our system? So like I said, Mr. Weston and Ms. Elledge, they've worked closely with me, provided a needs assessment, met with their communities to discuss what we needed to do to move forward, and the goal is to submit this for feedback and approval from TEA and the Service Center at the end of this week. Any questions that I might be able to answer?
Dr. Weber, are
Yes,
we
sir.
allowing the principals and I would say probably the teacher leads to work with each other at Rand and at Carson if they need be? Just, is it working here? What are you doing?
100%, and not just for those 2 campuses. I'd say across the board, especially amongst our elementary campuses, not just on our professional learning days, those specific Fridays, but across the board, finding times before school, after school, using technology where they can share and collaborate what's working and what's not working. And even from a literacy standpoint, just in some of our walks that we've done, different campuses, they use resources in different manners. So just getting those teachers to discuss what is it that's working for you, especially with phonics. Phonics is a big one. What resources are you using? What has proven successful to you? Because the teachers, they're the ones with the kiddos every day, and so they know firsthand. So who am I to come in and just tell them this is the way we're going to do it? Asking them what has proven to be successful and then getting them to collaborate with each other. But we try, I know this year has been full of a lot of professional learning trainings because of map data being new, Bluebonnet being new, just lots of newness, but incorporating times and opportunities for our teachers to share with each other best practices and kind of troubleshoot how we can grow and learn from those. Anything else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Weber. Any questions or discussions further on that? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the targeted improvement plan.
I recommend the board approve the targeted improvement plan for Carson and Rand Elementary.
Have a motion from Ms. Schneider. Do I have a second? Second from Ms. Alvarez. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. 12D, bear with me, this is a long one, but it's all rolled into one motion. But this is all concerning all the legislative updates from our last session down in Austin. So 12D, consider and take possible action to approve TASB initiated localized update 126 affecting local policies. And I believe I do need to read all those, correct? Or not? What do you think? Come on,
You can
Ms.
say
Williams.
as listed, but if you feel more comfortable reading through those.
I'd really rather not. There's a kickoff in about 15 minutes, so, no, let's just go with as listed, so. What's under my jacket? Are you kidding? Come on. If you know me, you know well. Okay, so just not to make light of this, but there was a lot, as everyone knows, there were a lot of changes this last legislative session, a lot of things that we need to update our board policy. Most of the stuff we're already doing, so it really is not going to have any effect, but this is stuff that went into effect actually in September. Of course, it took some time to get all the language done and get it to us, so that's the purpose of this, but we need to take care of this tonight in order to update our board policy. Having said that, I'm open for any discussion that needs to be, and if there is none, then I'm also open for a motion.
Real quick, I just want to say this is the largest policy update in Texas history. I think that's important for everyone to know, and the majority of these policies are actually part of the legal framework, which isn't adopted by the board. So those that are listed, those are the specific local policies that our board adopted, but it is the largest in Texas history. And like he said, a lot of these went into effect 9/1, and we're just now getting the policy that reflects the practice that we've already been doing. So this puts practice into policy, which should typically be the other way around, but we have no control over that, so.
All right, do I have a motion?
I move the board add local policies as offered by TASB Policy Service for consideration and according to the instruction sheet for TASB Localized Policy Manual Update Number 126.
I have a motion from Mr. Bayless. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Dr. Joyner. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion passes 7-0. Item number 13 is information, financial information. Mr. Mazinski, is there anything further you would like to address the board with on the financial information piece of this? No, sir. Okay. Just want to give you that opportunity.
Gary, I do have a question. What are we looking at as far as starting to have our budget workshops? What are you anticipating there to when we can start seeing those things come out?
Usually those start in the springtime.
I was thinking it was January, is it not? Does that sound right, Taylor?
Yeah.
In the spring. I don't think there'd be we'll probably have the audit finished.
All right, I got one more question. In the deficit column, we went from 1.5 to 1.9. I saw that the buses was quite a bit there, and there was a little bit in athletics. Did we take the hit of all 4 or 5 buses, or did we still pay for the one last year?
We got one, so we had 4 this year, and that's a good point. That's 4 that were anticipated, so we'll get, I'm sorry, 3, we'll have 3. So that's the difference in that, if you look at your total budget, that's the difference.
Thank you, Gary.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Mazinski or Ms. Williams? If not, I'm going to take my beautiful pink and purple hammer, and we are adjourned this meeting at 7:02.